Hello, y'all. Welcome to another thrilling, chilling office hours where I answer your vocal questions and you like and subscribe. So let me find the little thing. If you click in the doobly for this video, it should be a link to the Discord where you can also listen in on this conversation. If you'd rather listen than look upon my glorious face. Let me open this in the town. I'm scared. In on this God, I hate doing that. Okay, so 3 people watching now. Look, Ma, no fans.
Oh my God.
So, 4 watching now. Oh my God, I've made it in this world, in this life. 5 watching now. Y'all about to go higher than I can count. So let me check also the Discord to make sure I'm not missing any questions there. Might be easier sometimes to like type questions in the Discord for some people. You can also like tag me in them so I can piece the questions together out of the trolling. Oh crap, I'm not even on the putting my audio through on Discord yet. I will do that. Oh, yay. Some of my students just contacted me through WhatsApp. WhatsApp is great for recording voice notes of yourself so you can like send people drills if you do them. Do your drills. Okay, now I am quote unquote simulcasting. Okay, y'all got questions? Am I just gonna answer some more Stack Exchange questions? Because this is brought to you by Stack Exchange, where you can support growth of academic conversation about voice. The link for that and the how-to do that are in the doobly as well. Y'all will give me a like, but not gonna give me no questions. But maybe it's not loading them. Let me reload, see if it. Y'all will give me a like. I can't stand listening to myself. Nope, no questions. Y'all give me likes, but don't give me questions. I feel bad. I need to earn these likes. I guess until someone decides to put a question. And by the way, if you're on Discord, the questions go in voice text chat. If you are on YouTube, you can put them in the chat as well. Where my shit is at? Stack Exchange. Don't sound good. No new questions. No new questions. No new. Why are people out here downvoting? Stop downvoting questions on Stack Exchange. What do you gain from this? I swear I'm gonna shut all y'all down. Is there any? What? Oh, yay. I just became friends with Satan on Discord. Okay, so this is a curiosity thing. How do you start approaching a song in terms of what to add dynamically? I guess dynamics and sort of putting your spin on a song. I feel like I just answered this with somebody, but who did I answer this with? Oh, Ollie, one of my students. Ollie. I feel like I'm always pronouncing his name wrong, but I think it's Ollie, not Ollie. Well, anyways, so the way you can add dynamics to songs is figure out what different vocal techniques, like what different colors and what different runs and riffs, figure out what impact they have on you. What vocal features make you sad? What vocal features make you happy? And like get a list of those and then figure out what you want to communicate in the song. So for me, pharyngeal constriction. Sorry, I'm going dark for a second, y'all. I mean, I'm Black, so I'm always dark. But pharyngeal constriction, which is this kind of sound, this sounds sad to me. So if I want this song to sound like sadder, I might put this on, even if it didn't have it. And for some strange reason, I like the idea of sad Christmas carols, like singing them like they're sad. Like turning them like slow, sad ballads. I mean, there is that like emotional ass George Michael, Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart. Actually, that one I probably want to sing happy, so you can like do like a focus like Last Christmas I gave you my heart, the very next day gave it away. So that like could kind of turn it around and take it away from where the original interpretation was. But like I like the idea of pharyngeal constriction on a song like simply having a wonderful Christmas time. So like the idea of like putting pharyngeal constriction on that's like simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Like, and it sounds like, oh, well, you can have a Merry Christmas, but I'm dying of lung cancer. I don't know. Re-answer your Stack Exchange questions. Okay, Snoop Dogg, what was your name on the Stack Exchange? Oh my God, y'all are a mess in these comments. What is your name on Stack Exchange so I can re-answer those? Sorry about the lagginess. Also make sure, because sometimes the stream saves better than it actually streams. So like you might have problems during the actual stream, but if you watch, Man with No Plan, okay, you had some of the best questions. Oh, this song's so good. Okay, what is modal voice? I'm gonna do like a redux because I already answered these questions, and I want you to double check to make sure that the archive isn't laggy, because the archive might not be laggy. So what is modal voice? Modal voice, what I interpret is modal as in the adjectival, the adjective form of the word mode. In mode, if you ever heard like something like a la mode, like brownies a la mode, pie a la mode, or whatever, mode means like the common way, the fashion. What is the fashion of doing something? It's like the trend, like mean, median, and mode. So mode, when it comes to voice, is like what is most used most often. And what would be used most often, how the voice is used, is the way it's used when it's speaking. So facets of the voice, especially when it comes to laryngeal mechanisms and registers, mode means the ones that are used the most frequently. So chest register and M1 are the most frequently used compartments of the voice, and also using certain facets of M2 that might not be like the highest facets of M2 also will sound more modal. I don't like using it as necessarily like some people try to use it as a synonym for chest or M1, but I think it can be a little bit misleading to use in that way. Okay, what is singing from the diaphragm? A lie. What determines voice fuck? Okay, no, what is singing from the diaphragm? Singing from the diaphragm is, it's come to mean so many different things. You're always using your diaphragm when you're singing. You are always using your vocal folds or your throat when you're singing. So there's no true such thing as like throaty singing or singing from the diaphragm, because you're always using those things to sing. You're always using those things to talk. So there is no special way to sing that only uses your diaphragm. And like your diaphragm is always being used. So people might mean by that you should push more air and constrict less to get louder, which is true. Like some people will constrict more when they want to get louder. I'm trying to get louder like this. As opposed to if I just like push more air out, I can be like, I can get louder without constricting because I'm increasing air pressure and not constricting with my vocal folds. But it's kind of mean any and everything, and I'm tired of it. So moving on to the next thing. What determines voice fach? So there are some range wank supremacists in Dakota that are very much into measuring vocal fold length, and that might be a certain source of like that might be a certain source of what Fach someone ends up as, which is like you basically, for those who don't know what Fach is, it's range. The plural is Facher. No, I didn't make that up. So Facher can be determined, or it has an umlaut on the A, so the A is pronounced differently. So the fa, the ah sound becomes a different sound with the umlaut, but I don't care enough to pronounce that shit right. I'm sorry, Rika. I'm sorry, Graf. You can be mad about it. But Facher can be influenced by things that might be attributable to length of vocal folds, like range, obviously, and the dark color of your voice. The density of your voice might be increased with your vocal folds being more dense or lengthy, which being lengthy and thick is going to lend them to being more dense. So those types of things are thought to determine vocal Fach, but in my opinion, what most influences vocal Fach is basically the sociology of how you were raised. The people that voices that you listened to growing up, the voices that you related to, the voices that you were surrounded with in real life, the associations that you make with certain voices, I think can subconsciously train people. Like dudes, like straight dudes, I think implicitly often learn that in order to get the girl, you have this like nice commanding bass voice. So like masculine straight dudes tend to speak with lower voices. And I don't think that's because like they have a higher level of testosterone. Their vocal folds are different. I think they're just trained to be a certain way. I feel like being the only Black kid in a white environment, nobody ever took me seriously, nobody ever listened to me. So I felt like in order to change that, I needed a voice that was really loud and projected very well. So I tend to talk high and loud because I always feel like nobody's listening to me because they're not. So that is the way my voice has evolved. And I never was much into gender roles, so I was never counterbalanced by the fear of like, oh, well, I'm finding my voice is super high. People are gonna think I'm a sissy. Like I never cared about that. So yeah, that is what determines vocal Fach. Is vocal stamina a real thing? Vocal stamina is a real thing. If you've ever been to a club or a concert or a house party or whatever, like, and you've lost your voice and it came back, that is experiencing the loss of vocal stamina and the regaining of vocal stamina. Just like any other kind of stamina, it should be built through practice and training and conditioning. It's not just something that you just like pray to vocal Jesus to throw it in a circle on your thrusty and you're gonna level up to having the next level of vocal stamina without doing any work. You have to do work. Like that doesn't happen with running. Like you don't just like look at a jazzercise video and suddenly get more cardio ability. You have to use it till you lose it. And the same is true of voice. If you never push your voice, you're not going to have much vocal stamina. You might start off naturally having more than other people, but it won't increase by never using it, by never pushing your voice to any kind of exhaustive point. What effect does yelling have on the voice? Yelling can be riskier, high impact in terms of the folds, vocal folds colliding, actual reenactment of vocal fly. So you can get the vocal folds colliding, and that will lead to inflammation, and very long down the line, you can have damage. But you can do yelling in a perfectly sustainable way, which is fatiguing for the voice, because yelling also, in addition to vocal folds colliding, also involves a high air pressure. And that air pressure, your vocal folds like fighting to stay phonating when you have this high air pressure underneath them. And I'm so mad whoever downvoted the What Determines Voice Fach. Been not been anybody on my server, I will find you. And fighting against that pressure with your vocal folds, not allowing them to be burst apart by that air, requires a stamina, as we were talking about before, of the contractile muscles of the vocal tract that allow the vocal folds or pressure them into staying together when you have all that air trying to wedge them apart. Okay, I think that was all your questions. We'll go back into the YouTube chat. Okay, I'm going to answer Dakota's question first because she's been a good little bean. And then I'll get to Sed's question. Thank you for asking your question. Okay, what is actually being talked about when people mention thick versus thin, vocal fold configurations, level of adduction, thin versus thick versus thin? I wouldn't entirely know about all the different configurations. Is this from? Are people asking questions in the voice chat? Y'all hoes. Okay. People use them to talk about registers in a still model, which, not to throw no shade on the still, but I don't like using adjectives to describe a mechanism, because there almost always will be a case where that mechanism can be deviant from what that adjective is. Like if you call M1 the thick fold register, there's times when you can still be in M1, but it's way thinner. So I'm still in M1. You can hear it pop, so I'm in M1 and now I'm in M2. So you can hear it pop, but because I'm reducing the density of it, it no longer sounds like, I wouldn't call this sound particularly thick. And then like you might call this sound thin, but might not call this sound quite as thin as the thin sound from before. So that is why I stray away from using those interchangeability mechanisms. In their purest form, what I would think the words thick and thin describe, when I've seen them describe, when I like them best when they're describing, it's just how much of the vocal fold mass. And we're talking not in terms of contact quotient, not in terms of like anterior, posterior, but interior, exterior vocal folds. Like how much of the vocal fold mass is vibrating, how much of the external mass is vibrating of the vocal folds is what I would call thin versus thick. Yeah, which like that makes sense. Thin in that way makes sense, but I don't like it denoting a mechanism. I like it denoting a concept of how the vocal folds can behave throughout different mechanisms. It's like saying like fry only exists in M0, and then we're gonna call it something else in the different, no, like fry is a thing that can exist in any mechanism. Yeah, no, it would have been thin, but I don't like thin being a mechanism. I like it being an adjective. I don't like it being like, this is the thin fold posture, the thin fold. No, like my folds are thinner here, they're thicker there. And we can talk about that relatively, given the bounds of a mechanism, how much vibratory mass you normally have. Okay, so Sed says, I'm improving at singing one sustained belt note around D4 through F sharp 4 when the rest of the melody is in a comfortable area. But on some songs, especially rock, the whole melody is kind of high, so I strain 24/7. It's way different just yelling the note in a, yeah, no, Dakota, I know what it does. I'm saying I know what it does. I don't like it. So vocal fold, I know it refers to vocal fold body fold activity, but it often tethers it to a mechanism. At least that's what it's doing nowadays, and I don't like that. Like I know what it still does. It's probably the first time I've heard about thick or thin was through Estelle, like probably while you were still like an egg in your mom's ovary. Shit, how long ago was that? No, it wasn't that long ago, but you were like probably like 3 when I heard about thick versus thin folds. It's way different. Okay, continuing Sed's question. It's way different just yelling the note in a controlled way versus having to articulate entire phrases higher up when I'm not so comfortable. Yeah, so basically I think your question is about belting on a phrase versus belting an isolated note. So if you feel comfortable belting isolated note, but not belting phrases, that's totally natural. I would say get more comfortable belting with isolated notes. Try to, if you have like a belted melody, it's like say the belted melody, like go something like this. That was awful. But if it goes something like that, you would want to belt out that melody all in one continuous vowel just to practice getting that melody down. So you don't have to think about that, like, and like you just belt all that and then do that like over and over. and then start trying to insert the consonants. Because inserting consonants when you belt, it's sort of like or when you do any vocal cord coordination, it's like pressing reset button, because the consonants can break up the flow of vocal fold activity, especially what are called voiceless consonants. So consonants where your vocal folds don't vibrate, they have to stop vibrating. And sometimes if you don't have the greatest reflexes formed, when your vocal folds stop vibrating, you're like, oh, okay, your voice is like, or body's like, okay, I'm done with that. That was cute, that was bop, but that's over now. So the vocal folds, okay, hello, Hydralic, I'll get your question in a second. The vocal folds stop vibrating, and they also leave the position that they're supposed to be in order to make whatever kind of sound you want. And in this case, belting. So they leave that belting configuration. So you're like, oh shit, I'm done. But no, you have to restart belting in like 2 milliseconds. So you're not actually done, and you're over here stranded with your rest vocal configuration. Yep. So practice doing it with just continual vowels over and over on the phrase, and then bit by bit. And you also do like staccato belting exercises, like like you start doing that staccato, so you can practice, like keep the vocal folds in a belting configuration, so you don't have to refine the configuration every time. Oh, if you just got this video, please don't forget to subscribe and like and share it with your friends. Don't hog all this good vocal information to yourselves. Okay, so Hydralic, your question. Help advice needed. I ride escalators as a hobby, but my parents, okay, never mind. Bye. Okay. Martin McCarthy says, hiya. When singing, I find in my lower range, my voice has a good texture, so I'm told. But as soon as I mix or go into head voice, it disappears. Is there any way to maintain that and to mix higher notes? First, with any mechanism change, what you're talking about is most likely the shift from M1 to M2. This is M2. This is M1. So the break helps you find the difference between those. So people disorient and find themselves kind of bewildered when they switch mechanisms sometimes. So say I have like a nice breathy, not breathy, like a nice thick, juicy tone in my M1. And I sing in my M1 like this. And then I go to sing in M2. It sounds like this. So that can be sort of synchronous. What's the word I'm looking for? Disjointed. So if you find that you're getting that, first I would get your bearings with M2. Like with any coordination, I always want people to be very comfortable with the coordination, because what's happening is you are just floundering because you're not comfortable, most likely, with the coordination. So get comfortable with the coordination. And then there's like a whole toolkit, which I don't have the time to give you all right now, for just $9.99. No, but if you follow the modules on my server, I do talk about this, and I can give modules about this for free or for very cheap if you follow on Discord. So I can't give you the toolkit for this right now because it's very involved, but you can practice thickening your M2 so it sounds more M1-like. So your head or mix sounds more like your chest. And then from there, you can troubleshoot. Once you're comfortable, once you have a baseline color palette or density from your M2 that's similar to your M1, you start adding those textures back into your M1. So if I'm singing like this in M1, I can go like this in M2. So you can keep more of like a continual sound as you go into M2 and not get as bewildered. Oh no, I thought I heard a Christmas carol. I was about to like get out my rosaries. So yeah, you can maintain that in that way. Let's see if there's any questions. Okay, no new questions on the Discord. No new questions on YouTube chat. Hydraulic, you need a healthier hobby. Don't forget to like and subscribe, if you are coming in and I did a good job answering your questions.
Don't need no.
It helps my fragile little ego flourish.
I make it clear.
Okay, contact quotient. So, are you actually having trouble, or are you asking this like for the good of everyone? Contact quotient, from what I've seen in the literature, is a spatial quotient. So, okay. The quotients are just like a whole nother voice science conversation. It is very useful to understand quotients when it comes to voice, but it can be a little bit of a learning curve entering this conversation. If any of you that are listening now want me to break down quotients more and talk about it so like from scratch so that anyone can understand the conversation, let me know. But if y'all don't say something, I'm gonna just assume it's gonna be my like little core cult of fan people here, so I'll like talk to their level. But if you hear and are new and want to know, I'm more than happy to explain. Just let me know. Oh, Snoop Dogg! Oh my God, I never thought Snoop Dogg would come on my video and tell me such a nice thing. So, quotient, contact quotient, is a spatial quotient, which is unlike the spatio-temporal quotients of closed and open quotient. Contact quotient is basically how much of the vocal folds are contacting, because you have configurations where the vocal folds will like meet more just in the middle or something and not as much on the outside, but kind of go in like this. So this would be like a lower contact quotient where like they touch but not a whole lot. And then this would be a higher contact quotient where they really come together. Right now over me. And they that would increase the contact quotient. So contact quotient, higher contact quotient, I think would also lead to a longer, a higher close phase, which means a higher close quotient, because that contact takes longer to happen, and that suction of them being trapped together and that seal that they form lasts a little bit longer. So contact quotient, I think I usually align it under closed quotient, but where it might be helpful to take a look at is if you're in a mechanism that doesn't have a high contact quotient, like the higher mechanisms probably don't have as high of a contact quotient, but you can still increase your closed quotient without necessarily increasing because you use less of your vocal folds in these higher coordinations. So you can still think about them in a separate axis. Like my vocal fold activity is low, but my amount of vocal folds coming together is high, but the vocal fold mass that is co-vibrating is a bit lower. And that can affect the sound in different ways. I have theories about how closed quotient and vocal fold mass might both affect the harmonic series in different ways. But that is a theory I will release later.
Ain't that a hole in the door? Ready.
No, is it no more questions? Krampus, you got questions? Ain't nobody got questions? I'm about to like cook or some shit. Yeah. Hopefully my phone is charged enough. Can I make it? Can I make it through the night? 14% battery. Yeah, that's something. It's enough time for me to load the pastry into the oven. So what would a high contact quotient, MCQ, mucosal contact quotient, sound like? I just want to avoid conflation between having higher level discussions about them. I can't necessarily say what it would sound like by itself because it does bleed so much into closed quotient, but I can say what it anatomically does, what it looks like on a strobe, and what it might contribute to the harmonic series. Ain't nobody gonna see this video, so I don't know if people will use this against me later in the court of voice. I'm kind of hesitant to unleash this information because I don't want nobody stealing it. And I also don't know if it's necessarily right yet. But my theory is that generally speaking, the quotients, the closed quotient and open quotient, I think, affect the focus of the harmonic bands. So the relative density of them towards the center. So like a higher open quotient would have like a sharper band in the center and thinner bands outside on every harmonic. And higher closed quotient would have the opposite of, not opposite effect, but it would have stronger bands throughout each harmonic. But I think mucosal contact quotient might change the behavior of the series, like more harmonics, like more higher harmonics being retained and not dropping off. Like more vocal fold, because more vocal fold mass is probably being used if you have a higher MCQ. So the harmonic series would not decay as quickly. But that doesn't necessarily say anything about, look at this pear pastry. I got a roommate that works at a French bakery. Oh my God, look at this pear pastry. It's so beautiful. It's like, it's shaped like a pear and it has pear on the inside. And I'm just living my best life. Yeah. It also helps though to have something to look at the vocal folds at the same time to make sure that you're actually increasing or changing these things. But there's definitely like a lot of conflation between the two in terms of sound quality. Like the impression of closed quotient and MCQ, how they would sound to the ear are probably pretty similar. And they obviously like also bleed into each other. I'm annoyed. Who put it on broil? Do I want this other pastry? No, I'm not gonna be that. Yeah, I would like to eventually get some algorithms for analyzing spectrograms. That would be nice to get that going. We also need to get the damn Scinguistics going. Y'all got any more questions? Because y'all gonna be hitting me up in these DMs. I swear, next one of y'all to DM me is getting a link to the next live stream. I'm not playing this with you hoes no more. Where it's like, tell me how my voice is. Oh, answer my question that can't be answered on the server. Nope, you are coming to office hours if you want a question answered by me. Ask your questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps. Thank you. See if there's any questions on. Nope, there are no questions on Discord. What is the thing? I need to start having like an idle action that I can do when it's not many questions. Y'all can vote for that shit. I might twerk or some shit. I don't know. Twerk it out. Twerk it out. Ugh. Okay. It's barbecue coal. Barbecue coal charred are like still underneath my fingers. I mean, yeah. Okay, so Dakota asked, I'm having trouble visualizing MCQ, mucosal contact quotient. Because when less and less vocal fold mass used eventually lead to a mechanism change. Yes. It mechanism changes, I think, happen along thresholds of committed vocal fold mass. And it's not just like, it's not mass just interior exterior, because you have changes in vocal fold mass use because of interior exterior. But I think you might also have like anterior posterior changes where you like have like, okay, so just this part of the vocal folds is vibrating, or like, okay, no, just like I can't demonstrate it, but where the vocal folds might vibrate more at this end, or they might vibrate more at that end, or whatever. So that in fact there's a kind of diplophonia based off of that, but yeah. Thank you, Dakota. But yeah, that definitely is influenced by mechanism, no doubt. Just like open quotient and closed quotient are influenced by mechanism. But my brain stopped. This nail is so weird. But the variable can still exist as something that can be altered a bit between mechanisms as well. That's not just like, oh, the only way to alter is to shift mechanisms. It's like you can have slightly more vocal fold mass without it being like a higher vocal fold mass mechanism. It's just a version of that mechanism with a higher vocal fold mass. Hello, 5 people watching me. Please ask your questions and don't forget to like and subscribe. I will answer all your vocal questions, and don't worry, I won't necessarily use big nerdy jargon. It's probably like sing stuff when I'm idling, because that's what a vocal teacher should do, right? I have to pretend like I'm a real vocal teacher, else they'll catch on. I'm just in it for the drama, really. It's all part of a Ponzi scheme to marry Tristan. Oh, speaking of which, I got an update on the thing with Tristan. There goes your song. How do you belt a better E vowel? So do you mean like eh? I think it's important to dissociate vowels from mechanisms, from vocal folds. Whatever your vocal folds are doing, they should be able to do it on any vowel, because vowels happen in your mouth, notes happen in your throat. E. Okay. So E might be harder for some people. It's actually easier for some other people, because a lot of it is very much psychosomatic. It's very much like, I was told this was the hard vowel, so now it's the hard vowel. Like there's no reason that you can't belt high on an E. I'll give you a demonstration. Let me check on this pastry. Ow! Ooh, that's gonna be ready. That is definitely going to be ready. Damn, I'm not used to them heating up like that. Okay, let me go into the vault for a second so I can scream in E, so you can know that there is nothing wrong with Jesus. So there's nothing wrong with E as a vowel. I'm going in my vault where I keep the dead bodies. Okay. So, a lot of people might try to say like, oh, ah is the better vowel for belting. So, that like that's fine and not hard to do, but you can also do it just, it's pretty similar quality on So, and there's no like vowel modification that I did there. Vowels will sound different because it's not all I needed to do in here. I think that's all I needed to do. So vowels might sound a little bit different when you're belting them because like we don't listen to people belting high normally when they talk. So we're not used to the spectral shifts that happen in all vowels when you belt. But that doesn't mean anatomically the way you are producing the vowel is suddenly different. It could be the same damn vowel from the jump. And people will hear it is different. So it's important when you practice belting or anything where you think vowels are giving you trouble, just practice the full range of vowels. So start with the vowels that you think are the easy ones and then segue into the hard ones. Don't try to find a trick to get around the difficult vowels. It's like I yo, like, so do that. Like when you practice belting, don't just be like, oh, because that's the correct belting vowel. Like do all the vowels because you cannot have a career like only being able to belt on one vowel. Like you cannot like have like, you can't record any music like that. Like you can't be like, wa ka da ha da da ra da 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 da. So we could have had it all rolling in the D. Like you can't sing any songs if all you have are certain vowels because you need vowels to make words. Save the vowels. That should be. Oh shit! Wasn't me. That should be a hashtag. Save the vowels. Honestly, I need a meme series on that. Dakota, note this. Note this to file. Oh my. Somebody save me. I'm going nowhere. Somebody help me. Oh God, that smells so good. French people use so much butter and everything. Any other questions? Like my answer to your question, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Don't hog all this good information to yourself. No more foul, Val. I like it. I like it. I digs it. This can be part of the campaign. Where were you during the voweling of 2018? Amara's pear pastry. It's so litty. Oh, God, it's good. See if there's anything on Discord. Dang, office hours are slow though. Don't y'all want to sit and watch me eat?
It depends. If it's really bad, I may make over that.
It's good. It's filling my soul. I don't even have one.
Yeah, I feel like it would look better down in the pile on the wall.
No, my views, my sweet views are disappearing.
Yeah, for sure. No, if it was just space, it would be.
Thank you to my day ones. Are still here with me in the struggle session. Forever and ever. You can ask more questions if you want, Dakota. I think if you have more. Don't feel like you have to, but I feel like you have to like hold that. You want to ask questions. They know where to find me. I will be posting about that in premium pettiness. But I think we are going places. Basically, I have a collab with Tristan, hopefully, planned. You've not heard of this. Oh, you don't forget to like and subscribe. So I'll update you on all that. Hopefully we'll have something by the end of the month.
Hey, do you have that screwdriver?
Screwdriver?
The one I use. Okay. There's red, right?
This pear pastry is uplifting my sad and otherwise diminutive life.
Okay.
I'm gonna end early if y'all don't come with these questions. I need to take a dump. Well, that's the one vestige of misogyny. Not the one, but one of the few ones left in me. And that's like really weird to hear women. Like I have nothing against it. Like it's totally fine. But it's always like weird or jarring for me when women are really honest about their bodily functions, like burping and farting and shitting. And it's like, yes, of course, women have every right to do those things. I always just feel weird hearing about it. I guess it's sort of like the segregated restrooms of childhood. Took what?
Screwdriver?
Nah. If I had no questions in like next few minutes, I'm probably gonna end early so I can. I mean, I am old and out of touch.
After we take the
Wait, what?
skate ramp.
I am annoyed. Apparently the connection is being tenuous, and I don't have the energy for it. Like you can see the router right here. Okay, I'm gonna give it like 2 more good minutes. Someone else better come with a question. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Vowels for Vowels 2018. You're predictable. I am annoyed. I am annoyance. I am an annoyance with you. And song. Oh, I can't react to stuff in announcements. That's annoying. Zero AD. How would I know more about science from being prehistoric? Oh my God. Oh, y'all hoes always in like the darkest hour in the final moments. Y'all want to come with these questions, but I'm about to give up. The best ways to train your ear. For what in particular? What do you want to train it for? Exact pitch recognition, being able to sing in key, because these are very different things, or something else. What do you want your ear for? Nick has butt fetish confirmed. Oh no, I disconnected. Damn it.
It was like they're talking about escalators.
Oh my God. An insignificant peon.
That's funny. Was he for real?
Probably not. Nobody's real. Everything's fake. Everything's a lie. Okay, can y'all? Okay, relative pitch. Yay. I'm so annoyed. Oh, y'all have me sitting here staring at the screen waiting to reconnect. Because you out there in Cackalack country with no working internet or running water or belief in around Earth. So the best ways to train your ear for relative pitch, practice. If you want good relative pitch, practice is being able to match pitches, like play random pitches and try to match them, and then try to like learn series of random pitches, like play a bunch of random pitches and try to like match them. Don't necessarily need to know the name, just be able to match them, and then practice learning intervals. So learn like a third, learn a fourth, learn a fifth, and learn how those sound. Eventually get to the point where you can play a note and be like, I can sing a third above that on command. I can sing a fifth above that on command. That's good for harmonization. Recognizing pitches in songs. Oh my God. Stephen Alexander David, I'll get to your question in a second. Recognizing pitches in songs. Does it mean like doing them properly, like hitting them at the same pitch that the original singer is doing, singing the melody correctly? Because that would be probably largely relative pitch. But in terms of, I want to be able to hear the singer and be like, that's a D3, like that's absolute pitch. That's not relative. So figure out what you want just a little bit better, and then go with one of those. Oh my God, I hate you all. Oh my God, Nick. Okay. So Stephen Alexander David asks, how can I develop M3? Parentheses whistle register. First, make sure you have a developed M2. I don't know how many times I can tell these girls this, but make sure you have a developed M2, because M3 is all fun and dandy until you wake up and you're in an iron lung. No, but for real, it's all nice and dandy until you don't have any working M2 and you can't do like the middle high notes. Like nobody wants to hear anybody that is like, you've got me feeling emotions. Like that can only jump between those two extremes. You want to take them there and have those like M3 notes actually make sense. And if you don't have your M2 built up to at the very least, a good, consistent, strong C6, M3 does not really add much. You can get a lot further by having a really high M2 and just pretending like it's whistle, like that was all M2. But if I do that to like the average person on the stream, be like, look at me, I can do whistle register. Like people will be like, oh my god, especially because you have singers out here like Ariana Grande that like did whistle register like once in their life, and now everything they do is like being read as if like they used M3 on it, and no, not necessarily, my dude. So yeah, M2. Make sure you get all the benefits out of M2 before moving on to M3. But then once you are ready for M3, the best advice I have is to try to attack it breathily, like start trying to hit that note when you're working on M3 at first. That's the best way to hit it outright. A lot of people try to push for it and like, and you can't really discover any new territory pushing for things like that. Anytime I've had a breakthrough and I've gotten higher up my M3 range, it's always been very light. It was so light and ebullient and full of the effervescence of vivacity. Sorry, that's a reference to a previous video on my channel. So it's always been like more leaning into air pressure as opposed to contractility. Karen used to think that her throat was only for M3. Now she doesn't have one.
Are these cases for everyone?
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks.
The pear pastry was good as fuck. AJ, the pear pastry was good as fuck.
There.
Why does high larynx ruin my credit score? Y'all are a mess. Y'all are a mess. I honestly need high larynx is the devil memes. I have a sketch for a meme concept for high larynx on the server, so please somebody help me with that. So A5 is good. A5 is good, but if you're stuck at A5, you need to get past A5 in M2. I'm sure it's like it sounds good and everything up to the A5, but if it's not good and controlled and something that you are very comfortable and willing to use, be above A5, like you need at least C6, preferably up to E6, even better up to A6. Like I go up to generally E6 before I'm like, oh, nope, I'm switching. But it is possible to take M2 up to like at least A6 or higher. It's not vocal chords, it's vowel chords. Veal chords. Veal chortle. Squirtle. So it's not enough to just get to the A5, because I've had people that get to the A5 and whistle will demolish their hopes of getting the good range, like in M2 from A5 to E6. So what's it? Ultimately, you want E6 as a like C6 is like just the bare minimum of, it's like, well, I never wanted M2 anyways. C6 is like the bare minimum, but E6 is like the I've taken my time and really developed my M2. Okay, now I'm ready. And then anything above that is like you doing extra, which is good. Extra is very good. Oh my God, I hate unit. Oh my God. I'm about to show you this black screen. I'm about to end this bullshit. Y'all fucking trolls. I do actually need to go soon. Hopefully that answered your question, Stephen. That helped, please. Vote. How to expand M2 higher. I can't tell when y'all are serious versus when y'all not. How to expand M2 higher. So how do you get above let's say like the E6 block? I honestly have not taught M2 above E6 that much. People just either had it or they didn't, and it can be taught, I'm sure. It's just E6 is a very acceptable stopping point for M2. So I have to get back to you on seeing what actually works. What I do for myself, and I'm trying to train to go up there higher in M2, is I'll hit the tippity top of the notes in M2 as a reference point. Like I won't try to like necessarily do the breathy induction or something, because I might just end up in M3. But I'll do M2 as high as I can go, and I'll try to really breathy induce on that a couple times straight onto that note. So I'll hit like an E6. You reach for the stars. She's reaching your honor. Why do you say you need to improve M2? Okay, this is my last question that I'll answer. So yeah, basically the answer to your question is hit the highest note you can hit in M2 and then try to start breathy inducing that, because probably if it's the highest note you can hit, you start to strain on it. So you want to unlearn that strain with some breathy induction. Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like, Stephen. Please like this video and subscribe for more. Please. Thank you. So Snoop Dogg asks, why do you say you need to improve M2 before belting the belting module? M2 is the easiest register to, or mechanism, I'm sorry, Nick, mechanism to cannibalize. It's the easiest to get attacked from all sides by, what's the word I'm looking for? By M1 and M3. I don't know why it's so vulnerable, because you do have like cases of cannibalism that aren't as centered around the loss of M2, but the main ones are really centered around the loss of M2. I'm not sure why it's so easy to lose, but belting, for instance, if you start associating high notes with belts and you know how to do stuff in M1, but you barely know how to do it in M2, the level of clamping and pressure that you need for belt becomes the default of like, this is how you hit a high note. So when you go to do the high notes in M2, if you can even hit them, you'll be clamping and straining, and not necessarily dangerous, but it's just, you don't have as many sound options. It's like, I can either have a belt imitating M2 or nothing. Like, you want to have, the great thing about M2 is that you have all these dynamic options that you don't have in belt. So being able to belt and forcing your M2 to be more like that takes away those options, and can also block you off in terms of range. It makes it harder to go higher. How can I improve pitch accuracy in runs and riffs? Probably working on improving pitch accuracy in general. You want to have a good sense of whether or not you're hitting the same note as somebody. And then watch the YouTube series Breaking Down the Riffs with Natalie Weiss, my Lord and Savior. So after watching those, you can get a concept of how to deconstruct runs into the actual notes that they consist of, and like run them slower against what the original is. It helps have music theory, a basic level of music theory down for transcribing riffs and runs. I do run and riff transcriptions on one of the premium channels on my Discord, pluggity plug. So if you're interested in learning more about runs and riffs, I have a free channel where we talk about them, but I also have a premium one where I give people transcripts of how to do them. So if you're interested in that, just up. So yeah, I think that's it on the topic of runs and riffs. Anything else I'd say there? Yeah, it's just the ability to slow them down into individual parts. A lot of people treat riffs as like, oh, I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm not going to do it at all. Like, say I'm doing it right, like, So, like, some people can only do it, like, at the speed that they hear it. So I'd be like, oh, yeah, do that riff. But if I say, like, okay, now slow it down. Yeah. Okay, now do it faster. Like, that they'll only be able to do it that one way the entire time. But if I have the theory where I can break down, I know every single note. And I think about the individual parts that make the run, then it's hard to get better with accuracy or anything. So, yep, that's it for this week's Office Hours. If you've gotten helpful information from this, please like and subscribe. And I totally stole that from Mac. Yeah, Mac does it or whatever. And hit up the Discord and the Patreon if you're interested in getting some of these premium resources or supporting me and my French pastry habit while I watch your stupid questions in my ticker. Thank you for coming. Please come out next week. Bye, y'all.